Hi everyone, welcome to Misty Moon Designs. My name is Louisa. Today I'm so excited to share my annual beaded snowflake ornament with you. I create one every year, and this year's is going to be super pretty. I'll be using the beads that came in the GGC Treasure Bag, which was released last month. And if you're not familiar with that bag, I'll leave some information down below in the description section of this video. I'm also going to leave a list of all the materials and timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And if you stick around till the end, I'll show you my Christmas tree. As you can see, this gorgeous ornament features warm amber and champagne tones, lots of sparkly crystals, giving it a luxurious vintage vibe. I'm going to show you step by step how to make it, whether you're a beginner or advanced. Hopefully you'll enjoy today's tutorial. But the nice thing about this ornament is that you can use it on your Christmas tree or as a sun catcher on your window. And of course it makes a very special handmade gift. And I can't wait to show you how to make it, so let's go ahead and get started. Here are the beads for today's project. Like I said in the intro, they're from the latest GGC Treasure Bag, which came out on 2 November. And if you're familiar with the GGC Treasure Bag, you'll know that it usually comes out in 2 colorways. This last release, which was called Seasonal Tones, came in the Warm Collection and the Cool Collection. And these beads are from the Warm Collection, but that doesn't mean you can't do this project, because the other bag has the same kind of beads but in a different color. In other words, you're going to see all of these sizes and shapes in that bag. But the nice thing about this project is that you can use pretty much any kind of bead, as long as the beads are pretty and sparkly like these are. But anyway, if you haven't seen the unbagging video, I'll link it down below. But just to give you an idea of the sizes, these are 8mm in size, they're faceted, and they're called golden cap electroplated faceted beads. Because if you'll notice, there's a little bit of bronze at each end by the hole. And these are faceted AAA crystals, pretty high quality. They measure 10mm in size. The bag came with 2 shapes, a faceted round and a faceted polygon shape. And these are the polygon beads. And these are a funny shape, they're not exactly round. They're called pumpkin beads because of the shape. But anyway, they're also faceted and electroplated, and they measure 8 by 6mm. So they're kind of like a rondelle shape, sort of. And down here we have some twisted faceted beads. They're twisted because the faceting occurs at an angle instead of straight. But anyway, they measure 7 by 4.5mm. And as you can see, there's a mix of earth tones. I kept them on the strand because I want to use them in that order. There's actually 4 colors. There's a mustardy color, a light amber, a taupe, and a cream color. And I'm going to use them in that same order. And in this dish, I have a mix of crystals. I have these faceted Q beads, they're 4mm in size. There are actually 2 colors, Peru and golden, and I'm not sure which one's this one. It might be golden because these are actually Peru. But anyway, these are oval beads and they're faceted as well, and they measure 6 by 2.5mm. And over here I have 2 kinds of faceted rounds. They measure 4mm in size, but one is opaque and the other one's transparent. The opaque one is listed as half luster opaque peach, and the color of the clear ones is moccasin. Now, in addition to these beads, we're going to use some seed beads. We're going to use size 80 seed beads, and these are Miyuki rounds in a gold color. We're also going to use some size 11 seed beads, and these are also Miyuki rounds, and the color is champagne. But honestly, guys, you can use any color you want because you can't go wrong with this project. You really can't. And of course, we're going to be using some snowflake ornament forms. I got these on Amazon. The brand is Doris, as you can see, and they come in packs of 6. I've also seen them in different sizes. I think these are 6 inches in diameter. Let me see. I'm pretty sure they're 6 inches, maybe 5 3/4. But anyway, we're going to use 2 of them, and I'm actually going to trim one of them down by 3/4 of an inch because today's snowflake ornament's going to have 12 spokes. I call these spokes. I'm not sure if that's what they call it, but that's what I call them. And I'll show you how to trim it in just a few moments. The other thing we're going to use today is wire. We're going to use 2 gauges, 24 gauge and 26 gauge. And this is the kind that I like to use. It's by Bead Smith, and it's in a gold color, as you can see. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and clear my table because I can't have anything underneath. But like I said, guys, the nice thing about this project is that you can use any bead. And I'll explain how as we go along. So let me clear my table and I'll be right back. I'm going to start by trimming off the ends of one of these forms. Like I said before, they measure 5 3/4 across. So one will be 5 3/4 and the other one will be about 4 1/4. And this is very simple. Let me just put one off to the side. I'm going to use my ruler. And now with the marker, I'm simply going to mark my wire, my form, 3/4 of an inch from the end. Just like that. And now in order to cut these, you have to use memory wire cutters because this is tempered steel. and you don't want to ruin your regular cutters, and you simply come in here like this and snip it off. It's as easy as that. So let me do the other 5 and I'll be right back. Okay, I trimmed off the ends of the small one and I remeasured this one. It actually measures 5.5 inches from end to end, and this one measures 4 inches. So now we're going to wire them together, and I'm going to cut myself a long piece of 26 gauge wire. I recommend you cut yourself at least 3 feet just to be on the safe side. And let me go ahead and straighten it out a little bit. Another thing you might want to do, guys, if you're new to this, is to glue these 2 pieces together first before you wire wrap them. But I'm not going to do that today because I don't have time. I just want to get this tutorial done. All right, so now we're going to take the small one and place it on top of the large one like this, because you want the spokes of the little one to go in between the spokes of the large one. And I'm going to call them spokes from now on because I don't know what else to call them. And now I'm going to place my wire on top like this with the short end facing me. Keep my thumb on everything. Take the long end and wrap it around. Now this first wrap is a little tricky because things are going to get out of alignment a little bit. Let me do that again. And now I'm going to go around each space repositioning my spokes as I go along. And you want to pull pretty tightly because you want your wraps nice and small. Let me reposition. So I'm going to go around the whole thing a couple of times. And that's another reason why you need 36 inches, because you are going to use quite a bit of your wire making these wraps here. Let me trim off this end. And I'm just going to keep going around. Check it from time to time to make sure everything's nice and neat. Let me go ahead and use my pliers on this little piece that's sticking out that I trimmed off. I think that's good enough. It's looking okay. Let me use my pliers to tighten things up. And I'm also going to create a few little kinks here and there because that's going to help tighten things up as well. So wherever you see a straight piece of wire, go ahead and create a little kink, but you do have to be careful because it's 26 gauge and it will snap if you bend it too much. And that should be good enough. So now we're ready to add our first bead. And my first bead's going to be one of these oval beads. Let me just slide it on and I'll show you. I'm going to slide it onto the long spoke. It's one of these faceted oval beads. And now I'm going to take my wire and wrap it around the bead as well as the spoke. Just like that. Let me show you the back. I know you can see the wire a little bit there, but once all the beads are loaded, you're not even going to notice it. And now I'm going to slide on 3 seed beads onto the next spoke. Just like that. And now let me grab one of the round ones, and I think I'll use this clear one here, this transparent one. Bring it down. So now it's sitting in the gap, and that's what you want. You basically want to fill in the gaps. Let me go ahead and wrap my wire around this spoke, and I'm only going to wrap it once. And I'm going to repeat the same thing. So let me grab an oval bead, slide it onto this spoke here, which is the long one. Grab a round bead, and I think I'll use this opaque one next, if I can grab it. There we go. Bring it down. So now this one's sitting in the gap, as you can see. I'm going to take my wire and wrap it around this spoke here. And you only need to wrap it around once. You don't need to wrap it around twice. So once again, let me slide on some seed beads. 3 of them, size 8/0. And now a 4mm round, the transparent one. Bring it down. Let me just move this out of the way. As you can see, I'm alternating between transparent and opaque. So now I'm going to wrap the wire around this spoke to secure that bead in place. And that's all there is to it. Very, very easy. The next one will be an oval bead, like so. And now one of the opaque ones. Bring it down and wrap my wire around. So now I'm just going to keep going until I have beads on all the spokes. Okay, I've gone all the way around, and now I just have this one bead to add. As you can see, I'm going to place it in that gap. This is the bead that I started with. So I'm just going to wrap my wire around this last spoke, push everything in to make sure they're all sitting properly. So let me go over the pattern with you again. I started with an oval bead, then I added a clear 4mm bead, or transparent I should say, then 3 seed beads on the next spoke, then an opaque one, another oval bead, a transparent one on the wire, 3 seed beads on the spoke, an opaque one on the wire, and I repeated the same pattern all the way around. So now we're going to go on to round 2. I'm going to use these beads, as you can see. So let me go ahead and grab the first one. And I'm going to place it on this long spoke, which is the one that's nearest to the piece of wire. That's what you want. So once again, I'm going to wrap it around the bead and then around the spoke. Just like that. Push it in a little bit. Very, very simple. Down here I have size 11/0 seed beads and size 8/0 seed beads. I'm going to slide on 2 size 11/0. One size 8/0 and 2 size 11/0. Bring them down. Grab my next bead. Slide it onto the next spoke. Push it down. Grab my wire and wrap it around this spoke. Just the one time. So once again, 2 size 11/0s, 1 size 8/0, 2 more 11/0s. Whoops. Bring them down. Grab my next bead. Slide it onto the next spoke. Grab the wire and wrap it around the spoke. Push it down. And that's all there is to it. This part's very, very easy. So let me go all the way around and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm near the end of this round. As you can see, I added the last bead. By the way, these are the twisted faceted crystals. I forgot to mention it. But anyways, you can see I have my seed beads already on the wire. And I'm going to wrap my wire around this spoke. And once again, I'm going to slide on 2 size 11/0 seed beads, 1 size 8/0, and 2 more size 11/0. Bring them down. And now I'm going to wrap my wire around this spoke. And I'm going to do it a couple of times because I'm finishing off this round. I'm actually going to do it 3 times. Slide everything down. So that's what we have so far. I think it looks so pretty already. It really does. Let me just go ahead and wrap one more time just to be on the safe side. And by the way, my cats didn't scratch me. The spokes did actually when I was testing out this design. Now before I trim this off, I'm going to use my round nose pliers to push these seed beads down. So it looks kind of scalloped a little bit. You do want to be careful because you don't want to crush your beads. So I'm pushing down in the middle of each section. And that actually tightens things up as well. That's good enough. And now I'm going to go ahead and trim off my wire. Slide down my wraps and smush the end down so it's not sticking out. So now we're going to move on to round 3. Let me just go ahead and pick up these beads. Now for this round, we're going to use quite a few different beads, and we're also going to switch to 24 gauge wire. So this part's going to be a little challenging, guys. I'm not going to lie. Let me go ahead and cut myself a piece. I'm cutting myself about a 30-inch piece, something like that. I think that should be enough. Let me go ahead and straighten it. I am going to put down some more seed beads, but this time we're just using size 11/0. Hopefully they're not going to go flying everywhere. But there's no guarantee because whenever you work with wire, that's what happens, unfortunately. And I'm going to need more than just that, but I don't want to put too much down on my mat. For this part, we're going to use these beads, these other ones, the cubes, and the 4mm rounds. And I just put them out here for you to see, but I don't want to keep them here because again, I don't want them flying around all over the place. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this round. I'm going to start with one of the long spokes and I'm going to slide on one of these transparent 4mm rounds. And now one of these beads, these are the 8mm beads, and another transparent one. Just like that. Push them down. And now I'm going to take my wire and place it on top of the spoke like this. It is kind of tricky. And I'm going to wrap it around, I would say about 3 times or so. And obviously I need to trim this off. Push it down. I'm going to use my pliers to tighten those wraps up. And you definitely don't want any ends sticking out. So I'm going to tuck it in the best way I can. So now I'm going to slide on 7 seed beads, size 11/0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bring them down. And I'm not sure if you guys can hear the wind, but it's really blowing crazy outside. There must be some kind of front. So now I'm going to slide on a cube onto the wire. bring it down. And to make things easy, I'm actually going to slide on an ear stopper, a silicone ear stopper, because I definitely don't want anything sliding out. So I'm going to use one of these. This is just a standard ear stopper. Bring it down. So that's what we have so far. Now comes the tricky part. I'm going to take my wire, wrap it around the bottom of the bead, bring it over to this side. So this is what we have. You definitely want to make sure that the seed beads are out of the way when you do this. And now I'm going to go ahead and twist the cube. Let me just do it and then I'll show you. So there's my cube. Let me just twist it a little bit more. And that's as good as it's going to get. So now I'm going to slide on another 7 seed beads. As you can see, I have my 7 seed beads on. Let me just double check. I have exactly 7. And here I have 2 of the opaque beads, 4mm size, and 1 of these faceted pumpkin beads. I'm going to go ahead and slide one of them down onto the short spoke. And now this one. And now this one. So now we're going to take this wire and wrap it around the spoke. And actually I'm going to work this way. I think it'll be easier this way. Make sure all my seed beads are there. And now I need to hold on to the seed beads like this and wrap my wire around a couple of times. Actually 3 times, just to be on the safe side. Let me slide my wraps down, arrange my crystal, and by the way, by the time we get done, all of these beads will be secured in place because we're going to be adding beads to the ends. And that's basically it, guys. You add your 7 seed beads to the wire, add the next set of beads, add a crystal, another 7 seed beads, and then the next set of beads, and wrap your wire around. And that's how you do this part. Let me just do one more with you, and then I'll do the rest off camera. So 7 seed beads, bring them down. So there they are. And now one of the cube beads. Bring it down. Wrap my wire around the bottom of the bead. Take it to the other side, like so. And now twist it in place. Just like that. Slide on 7 seed beads. Slide on the next set of crystals. 2 of these transparent rounds and 1 of these. Let me flip my work around this way. Position my beads and my wire like so, and go ahead and wrap. And I'm wrapping 3 times, just like I did before. Let me slide everything down. Let me move this crystal. So now I have 2 sections, as you can see, and that's all there is to it. So I'm going to keep going until I get to the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm almost done, and it was very challenging because that wire is very thick I would prefer 26 gauge. The problem with 26 gauge is that it's not strong enough for these embellishments. I have done snowflakes in the past where I've used 26 gauge and it's okay, but once you get your snowflake out of storage, you have to rearrange the embellishments and that can be a little annoying. But 24 gauge is a little bit stronger, so they shouldn't bend out of shape. But anyway, as you can see, I have my 7 seed beads on this little end, and I'm glad that I gave myself at least 30 inches worth of wire. But you know, you might want to give yourself a little bit more. So I'm going to take this ear stopper off. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this end around this last spoke. Let me use my pliers because I want the wraps nice and tight. Let me do one more, and that should be good enough. So now I'm going to trim off my wire, burnish down that little end the best way I can, and I'm going to add some beads to the ends, and that'll be it. So let me go ahead and add this bead to this spoke, push it down as much as I can, and now I'm going to create a little loop with what's left over. And I am going to use my memory wire finishing pliers. I'm going to use this small barrel. And now using my crimping pliers, I'm going to squash that loop to make sure it's closed. So that's what we have. So once again, I'm going to add beads to this one. I'm going to add a cube bead, 2 seed beads, size 8/0, a pumpkin bead, and one of these large crystals in this order. Pumpkin bead first, and now a seed bead, and now a cube, another seed bead, and this large crystal. Push it down so all the beads are up against each other. And now using these pliers, I'm going to create a loop. You want to make sure you close it. So there's that loop. And that's all there is to it. Let me do one more. I'm going to use one of these on the short spoke, push it down, use my memory wire finishing pliers to create a loop. Use my crimping pliers to squash it a little bit. So now that one's done, and that's how I'm going to do all of them, using this sequence for the longer spokes and just one of these for the shorter spokes. So I'm going to keep going off camera, guys, so this video isn't too long, and then when I come back, we're going to arrange these little embellishments to make it look even prettier. So I'll see you in a few moments. Well, here's my beautiful finished snowflake ornament. I think it's so pretty. It really is. It's so sparkly, but the colors are so soft and beautiful. Now, one thing I do want to mention, the spokes aren't all the same length, believe it or not. These snowflake frames aren't perfect. I've run into this issue before because some of the loops are bigger than others at the end. But there's one big loop here that I'm going to use to hang ribbon or something. But anyway, guys, what you want to do now is you want to move these little embellishments around the best way you can. You might want to even use your pliers to push them up like this. And then of course you want to move these crystals so that they're sitting properly. Let me just fix this one. That's good enough, I think. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you can make your own snowflake ornament. Like I said in the beginning, you just start sliding beads on each spoke to make sure they fit properly, and you do that for all the rounds. It's actually very easy. The most difficult part are these little embellishments and finishing it off as well, because the wire is pretty tough. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you have time, I'd love to hear your opinion. If you could leave some comments down below, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.